Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Will, and I'm actually sitting on a train right now, riding back from Raleigh, North Carolina, to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live. Was up there yesterday doing a podcast with Woody Lockwood and Chris Powers. These guys own Trophy Brewing. If you look up Trophy Brewing, it's a phenomenal business. It is very well respected. It's just a loved brand in the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill triangle area. We talk about their story of growth, really impressive growth since they opened their first Trophy with 14 seats. Trophy Brewing opened with 14 seats in 2012, and they are now up to several locations. They've got hundreds and hundreds of total seats, over 100 employees, but just down to earth, humble, nice, caring, authentic, genuinely hospitable guys. We're proud to serve them. We've known them for a while. They've been a great customer for a long time. And we just had a wonderful conversation sitting out on the patio of their original location where they recently expanded. And they're now renovating the original part because they expanded into the next door building. And it's wonderful to see. And they're great guys, and it's a cool story. So check it out. Thanks for listening. And we'll have more episodes coming up soon. See you. All right. What's up, y'all? It's Will here at Schedulefly, and man, this is an exciting day. So I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. I'm at Trophy Brewing, the original location of Trophy Brewing, and we're going to talk about that. Chris Powers and Woody Lockwood are here, owners of this place. I'm going to crack open a Trophy Wife beer, their signature beer. Stuff is all. Is there? There's a Trophy husband too, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah,
there is.
Yeah. There we go. All right, now we're in business. Guys, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the, they've got some co-branded Schedulefly Nike shoes in front of them we'll talk about in a minute, but there's some, you'll hear some construction here on the episode, and that is because they, y'all started at the location we're sitting here at, or the building that's attached here next door. You started with a 14-seat bar at that location. What year?
That was in 2012.
12. So
yes.
Here we are, early 2020. So 8 years later, you're renovating that. You've just opened. You've got over 100 seats here. You'll have over 200 when you're done there. But that's not it. You've got. I mean, I can't even keep up. You guys are growing. Like, how many locations and how many total seats do y'all have across your group now?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Total seats.
Yeah.
Do you keep a total seat count?
Man, we should be. But so we have 4 locations total.
4 locations total. Okay.
Our original spot here was started off with 14 seats, like you mentioned. And then we added on things here and there. So we added the outdoor patio first, the covered outdoor patio. Then first we added a dining room area, which had added 12 seats. And then we added the outdoor covered patio. Then we added the front patio in front of it. And then we'd been sitting pretty there for a couple years. And then we started renovating the side. So across the 4 locations, we've got a lot of seats.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Good answer.
All right. Hundreds and hundreds,
hundreds
now.
of seats.
We're also expanding at State of Beer, so we're actually going to have
saw
some
that.
indoor
Okay.
seating there as well.
Yeah.
Was that on Instagram or something recently? I
Yep.
saw something about that. What are y'all doing there?
Yeah.
Our friends, our neighbors, Renology, have decided to move to a new location across town. So when that space became available, we were like, the thing we're lacking the most is indoor seating. So we only have those bar stools in there.
Right.
So when the weather's bad, it's not
It's
the most popular place.
because you've got the outdoor. You got a lot of seating outside, right?
Yeah, but in North Carolina, you end up having days like this in January where it's perfect patio weather.
It's like 60-something and sunny in January here.
Yeah, which is
crazy.
insane.
But then tomorrow it's going to be, or the next day or something like that, it's going to be like
it's going to start to get
30-something,
cold. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know it can always get into those February or March days where it's snowing and sleeting, and people are scared to drive very far. And we're right in the center of town there at State of Beer, so people can walk to it from all the apartments or after work, and it's a great location for it. It's also going to give us an opportunity to do some private events over there, which is something we haven't been able to do because we have been so limited. And it's going to make that space feel less crowded. It's going to move some of the things that we were doing on the original side into the new space, give us some more seats, give us some more room for some games, and some more areas just to chill and spend a little bit of time.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, okay, so 8 years in. How many people did y'all have when you first started?
Well, actually, we're more like 11 years in total.
Okay.
Because we opened up an original location in 2009 at the Busy Bee Cafe.
Oh, that's right.
That's
the Busy
right.
Bee. Yeah.
We opened up
Okay.
April 6th of 2009, and that was crazy. We were just talking about it last night for our employee party. We started in 2009, and we were open for coffee, opened at 6 a.m. every day, and then we closed at 2 a.m. every day. So there was really only about an hour and a half that there wasn't somebody in that building.
Really?
We would actually overlap sometimes. We'd see the closer would see the opener.
The closer would see and that was your
Yeah.
first. So y'all started that, and then
Yeah, we were young and dumb.
well, that place was really good. And
Yeah.
It was really popular.
Mhm.
Not,
but
not
now
the coffee part.
Yeah.
Not the coffee part. No.
It was before its time downtown. There wasn't as many people living downtown, and folks were commuting to RDU or RTP or Durham or something like that.
Oh.
People weren't coming into downtown. We didn't have Citrix. We didn't have a lot of those employers that we do now.
Yeah, Ashley Christensen had a coffee place around there sometime for a while, didn't
It was
she?
after
Yeah.
us.
Jewel.
After you?
After
and
us,
then,
Jewel,
did
yeah.
she close that?
Mhm.
The Wilmore was there before her even, and then Jewel came, and all the coffee shops have closed
That's all
right
coming
there on
on
that block.
That street. Yeah, it's hard. Coffee's tough.
Coffee's tough. Sir Walter Coffee. Have you ever been? You guys go over there?
Shout out.
They
Yeah,
kill it,
Kevin's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Kevin. He's a good guy. Yeah. He's opened his second location. Well, okay, so you did that, and then, but now you changed the, that's Trophy Tap and Table, right? So
Yeah.
everything is under the Trophy brand now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the Busy Bee, we celebrated everybody else's beer, and
Yeah.
now we're just celebrating our own beer.
Yeah.
There, we really see it as a partnership between the breweries and the kitchen, our brewery and the kitchen, because beer and food, those pairings and those ideas of those things need to be elevated, and that's what we're working on.
Okay.
And that, it wasn't an option when we only had the 3-barrel system here on Morgan Street. We didn't have enough beer. We didn't have the volume to support it anywhere else. So once we had that volume, when Trophy Maywood got going, it made sense for us to transition to Tap and Table.
Now, so in 2009, you opened Busy Bee, you probably had a couple dozen people there or something like that total?
Yeah.
How many do you have now? How many employees do y'all have?
So company-wide, we have 112.
Man.
Which is
Yeah.
crazy to say out loud.
It's crazy, and it hits home every 2 weeks.
It hits him every 2 weeks. Well, that's y'all are kind of you're learning as you grow. I mean, you're gonna
Sure.
and you're gonna keep
Absolutely.
having more and more people, and
Mhm.
your responsibilities have, I'm sure, changed
For sure.
dramatically since then. Have you found that? I mean, I know you still enjoy it, but is it do you like having the challenge of learning new aspects of the business? Because as you grow, I mean, there's a lot more things you have to take on. There's also a lot more you have to let go of.
For sure.
Which sometimes is a hard thing to do.
It is hard because most restaurateurs get in, chefs or bartenders or people that are from the business that get into the restaurant, like owning or partnering in a business. They want to stick around with what they're good at,
Yeah.
the things that they know, things that you know.
Yeah.
But eventually you have to kind of let some of those things go, figure out what makes sense to be spending your time on, which is something that we're not always great at, but this is something that we're working on, is building our team, putting some responsibilities on each member of our team, leaning on their strengths and focusing our time on what makes the business solvent,
Yeah, you say that. You say you're not great at it, but y'all have done an amazing job. You built an incredible business with a great reputation. But why do you say that? What is that?
There's so many things that I think that I love to do that I don't necessarily need to be doing. There's so many things that we do the orders at State of Beer. So we deal with reps, distributors all the time. When we really could, figure out a layer between us and the reps in order to make those orders happen quicker, or just things that are a little bit could be somebody else's time instead of our time.
Yeah.
But it's something we like to do. We're friends with the reps. We love working with wholesalers. That also keeps us in contact with other breweries regularly. What's happening, what other people are doing. Wineries too. Wineries and wine distributors. Whereas we may not have as much direct contact as we would if we weren't placing those orders. So,
Guys, I think that there's a lot of value in that. I came up here today, so I'm not answering our phones today. Hank is, but on days when I'm home, I answer our phone calls, our 800 phone calls. I'd never want to lose. Like the day I have to give that up is almost a bad thing,
Right.
Because it keeps me engaged with the people that use our service. It keeps me on a one-on-one relationship with our customers, and I give them my cell phone, like y'all. I want people to be able to. That's important. It's important to not let go of some of the little things that kind of helped your business be successful in the first place.
Yeah. That's true.
That's the only way you're going to see things that need to be fixed, things that are going wrong, things that are going right. a never-ending battle, mentally trying to figure out where we should be, what we should be doing. We can't be in the restaurants till 4 a.m. anymore. We don't want to be necessarily, but we want to be there. We want to know what's going on. We want to be empowering people or giving them what they need.
To do a
and
good
we can't
job,
do that if we don't know what we're talking about, if we're never there. So it's almost a guilty feeling sometimes when you can't be there all the time. But we have families now. We both have kids now.
You both have kids,
so it's a never-ending balancing act of trying to figure out where you should be and what the most valuable use of our time is.
Yeah. It's hard to go, our days start a lot earlier than they have in the past. It starts at 6 a.m. when the kids get up.
Yes.
And then, work also starts a little bit earlier that way too. And then, so it's a little bit harder to be out there till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. helping close down the restaurants. So,
how many kids do you have, Chris?
I have one.
How old?
She's going to be a year old next week.
Oh, so congrats, man.
Yeah, it's pretty
Little
wild.
Girl.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's been an awesome experience. Luckily, I have a lot of good people to lean on for advice on certain things, and that's helpful.
Yeah.
And it's also helpful to hear some of the traumatic things other people are going through. So it's like, dang, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Or like, learn something. So.
Yeah, just wait till she's a teenager, dude.
Oh man.
My daughter's 15. She's awesome.
Man,
it's fun. It's wild. Yeah. No, man, the kids are great. How about you, Woody? How many kids do you have?
My daughter's about to turn 3, and then I have a son that's 7 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys are really in the thick of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I already respected y'all, but doing what you're doing and running a business like this, as successful as it is, and having the little ones like that, that's no joke.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot. They require a lot of attention, but you want to give them a lot of attention, and
for sure.
And it'll be cool for them to grow up with a growing business and learn from y'all and
learn how to wash dishes.
That's the plan.
Learn how to wash dishes and learn how all this stuff works, man. That'll be a great learning experience for them for sure.
Growing up, I got to work in a family business and get an insider view of how businesses are run, and it's an experience that you can't really. It's priceless. You get to see both sides of it. You hear the personal side when you're home with a family. You also see the business, how it's run, and learn a lot, being in it. So I can't wait. We're going to make our kids wash dishes for sure.
Heck yeah, they are. Yeah. You got to start at the bottom.
That's right.
That's right. Earn your way up.
Yep.
Well, y'all have just so much going on all the time with your growing and your expanding, and you've created the Trophy name and the Trophy brand is just extraordinarily well known and respected and admired, in this area and in the Raleigh area, and where you have all of your physical presence. How far are you distributed with?
Not very far. We go to the Triangle area 4 days a week. We have 2 vans that deliver for us. We self-distribute. We go to Charlotte every other month.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was going to ask you if you where are you in Charlotte?
Our friends at Salute always are really supportive.
Okay.
Brawley's.
Brawley's. People ask me a lot if that's my place, Brawley's Beverage. That place has been there forever.
It is, yeah.
I don't know them, but we share a last name, and I bet they're not relatives. But
he's awesome.
I've heard he's a great dude.
He's a great dude. Great member of that community. Does a lot for beer, and also his neighbors and stuff. Really community minded. That's how we really get along with him. Shares a lot of our same opinions on stuff. So,
what's his first name?
Yeah. Michael Brawley.
Yeah. Michael. Yeah. I'm gonna go say hey to Michael. I'm gonna go buy some of your beer there. I didn't know y'all were in Charlotte.
We are.
I don't get out a lot though. I'm kind of lame.
Jason at Salute comes through quite a bit and gets our beer too.
Okay.
Or we deliver down there too. So.
Yeah.
Do you aim to expand that footprint, or do you aim to just grow your physical presence more in Raleigh, open more locations, and do more here, or both?
The plan is to move more. First priority is to move more in-house. We have big plans over on Maywood Avenue where we're going to build an event facility and another restaurant. So we're hoping a large volume of beer, can get moved over there.
Okay.
But no big plans for growth. I think we have a couple of markets in mind. We just started going to the beach last year for the first time in the warmer months. So 6 months out of the year we go there once every other week.
Yeah.
What beach? You go to Wilmington?
Go to Wilmington.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have some folks that come and pick up beer at locations there for further north or south. So
Okay.
we don't go. So we don't really distribute any other markets outside of North Carolina with any regularity.
Okay.
I mean, we brew this year. We're going to brew about 6,000 barrels of beer.
6,000.
And we sell that all here.
It's insane.
It's a lot of beer. I mean, we're obviously not on the scale of some of the bigger guys in the area, but it's something that's important to us to like take care of our home market, make sure people get the beer that they want, beer that we're proud of, and continuing to watch us grow and putting beer in front of people.
Yeah.
We do send beer outside of the state when we travel, which is cool. You know, like if we go to GABF, we send beer out to our friends at True, and they help distribute it, send it out
What's
a little bit.
GABF?
It's the Great American Beer Festival. It's held every year.
Yeah, okay.
And through that, going out there for GABF, we've actually gotten to gain some fans in Denver and Colorado that come back and visit us in North Carolina. The goal is always to get beer out to bring people back to Raleigh.
Yeah.
That's a big part of what we want to do is celebrate Raleigh and share Raleigh with more people.
And as we find places that we love, if they're willing to do an event with us while we're out there, or, you know, carry our beer while we're out there, that's like, those are magical moments.
It's a dream. You get to go to your favorite bars in the country and have your beer there. It's like we always get giddy when it happens.
What we don't want is to just ship beer out, you know, to whatever state or city and, you know, find that it might be sitting on the shelf 6 months later and someone buys it and, you know, doesn't have a good experience with our brand. So we like it to be in areas that we can see it and make sure it's, you know, being served fresh, being handled properly. And
Yeah, I mean, does that become an issue with distribution if you're sending it to halfway across the country or whatever with timing and freshness?
I mean, we're always scared that as soon as we let the beer out of our hands, it's not going to, you know, my fear is always it's going to sit hot on a dock somewhere waiting for somebody other truck to pick it to move it somewhere else. That's why if we go to different markets, which is, you know, small amounts of beer, we use brewery related distribution or people that really understand craft. Cold shipment whenever possible. I'm always worried about a guy checking into our beer in Colorado and being like, dang, this thing is, you know, it doesn't taste right, or is this really what Trophy's trying to do? And I take it personal. We see something on Untapped, it's like, why didn't they like this beer, or what happened to the beer between the time we made it and it got shipped out there?
Untapped. Are they in North Carolina business?
They are.
Yeah.
Actually, they have an
in
office in
Charlotte?
Wilmington.
They're in Wilmington,
Wilmington.
Oh, they're in
yeah.
Wilmington.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about
They
Untapped.
did that big event in Charlotte last year.
Okay,
They
I
did
thought
beer
I mean,
festival.
I've heard of them, but
Yeah.
I don't know what.
So it's a rating and review website.
Okay.
Where you can go in, you create an account, you go in, and when you go to a brewery, you can even check into the brewery, and you can try a beer and then leave your thoughts on the beer.
Okay.
And it's on a 5-star kind of system
So it's sort of like a Yelp for
beer.
specifically for breweries.
Yeah.
Is it pretty widely used? It must be. If
It is.
Incredibly,
Yeah, it's
all over the country, or
all over the
Mhm.
country,
Okay.
yeah, and
That's
even
great.
internationally. There's that, and there's also Rate Beer, which Rate Beer is another similar kind of model to that. But Untapped is something that's more widely used here in North Carolina for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So you just put got it.
So it's
So
like
you look for comments on there about
yeah. We always want to see people's feedback on our beer and see how they're tasting it. You know, if it was a beer that we loved and we put it out there and people didn't like it, we want to know about it. And that's easy. I mean, people can leave feedback anonymously.
You have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you do have to take it with a grain of salt.
It's
but
not, we don't obsess over.
yeah.
Well, because
But it's a
the
tool.
reality
It's a
is
tool.
like more people leave the negative whatever. I mean, a lot of people are just, you know, I'm never going to leave anything about, but I love your beer.
Yeah.
You know, like I really enjoy it. I don't have the app, and I won't, but I mean, it's great beer, but you know, and you have like signature lines or ones that I mean, you've had this for quite a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but then you're also always. Is it monthly or is it seasonally? Like how often do you come up with, or is it weekly or?
We've expanded what we offer regularly. We offer Wife, Trophy Husband, our wit beer. We just added Mort's, a new Pilsner. We invested in some lagering tanks.
Okay.
So we're doing Mort's full time. We're doing Milky Way for all the colder months.
Nice.
What
And
am I
husband
saying?
back in, yeah.
Yeah.
So we do. So it's kind
And
of
Cloud Surfer.
And
How did I
Cloud-
forget our second selling beer? But other than that, every beer is changing all the time. There are things we go back to seasonally, like El Hombre just dropped, and that was, you know, we do that once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be for the colder months, but it's 70
Has not
degrees.
gotten
Yeah,
cold.
so,
I mean, like,
But our all of our other tanks are rotating constantly, and our pilot system, the original system from here, is over at Maywood now. We brewed over 100 different beers on that system last year. So
100?
literally, we didn't
Over 100.
we didn't repeat any beers on that system.
wow.
The whole idea is to be, you know, testing things, trying things.
Okay, so a couple a week then.
Yeah.
on
so
average. I mean,
about 3 a week. So
Yeah.
total, because we do about we did 164 new beers total, unique beers last year.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
On both systems. Yeah.
it's insane between the large system and the small system, and that's things. So the average.
How
is
do you come
3
up
a
with all
week.
these different flavors? That's impressive.
A lot of sampling, man. We're always constantly seeing what's out there, what new beers
Yeah.
are coming through there, and we're always reading websites and listening to podcasts, reading blogs about other brewers' experiences with different ingredients. We want to try it. You know,
There's so many ingredients out
there's
there.
so many different ingredients.
What are some of the most unique or unusual ingredients that y'all have used?
So last year, this is actually a really interesting stat because I just looked it up yesterday. But we did we used about 5,000 pounds of North Carolina fruit last year. North Carolina fruit. So
okay.
I purchased
Blueberries, obviously.
blueberries, blackberries, strawberries.
Yeah.
We did a ton with peaches and watermelon last year. And that's all for
Really?
beers that are for release this year or planning to be released later on. It's an awesome feeling to go to the farmer's market and talk to a farmer, try something that they have, and say, "Can you get me 2,000 pounds of this?" And it usually is followed up by, "Do what now?" But it's awesome because you go there and you meet some of these folks that are actually working on these family farms that have been growing these things for years and haven't necessarily had a huge outlet like that. And we buy it, say, "Hey, send me 2,000 pounds of blueberries. We'll process them, use them for the year."
That's
pretty cool.
incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making their year. Like
For sure. Where it's going to affect how they plant for next year. It's going
Yeah.
to affect how they think about that particular fruit, and it should actually affect how other breweries think about buying puree from Oregon or from some other country. We want to think about North Carolina as our home base.
What? Oh, go ahead, Woody.
No, I was going to say that's not the most unusual, but that's what we're most proud of.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where you should
Yeah.
be. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What percent of the beer market is craft beer now?
Approaching 10?
It's approaching 10%,
Okay, it's like
and it's still
10.
gaining. It's still
Yeah.
growing. But we're always fighting Alco seltzers and Truly, White Claw, and the seltzers of the world. But I think we're still gaining people.
Yeah.
I think you have to be smart about what you offer, be better at educating and getting people excited about it. But craft is still growing. So
For sure it is. And what you're doing, so that story, that's, when you're going and using all this local fruit and you're helping local farmers, you've added this beautiful addition. You have local businesses that provided everything you do here. That's meaningful to people now. People are paying attention to that more. And so, that's such a different story than some of the, big, and now they're all like internationally owned, all the big brewers or whatever.
For sure.
People, so you've just got, it's almost like unlimited opportunities just in the Raleigh market, really. And as you can see, because the Raleigh's growing.
Another side note, we purchased about 68,000 pounds of locally grown grain this year.
68,000 pounds?
Pounds.
Locally meaning North Carolina
Grown
or
in Wake County.
Wake County?
Yeah.
Golly.
Which is insane. This is from a small family farm. We work with a company called Epiphany Craft Malt. They are based in Durham. This guy, his name is Sebastian Wolfram, who started the company with an intention of teaching farmers showing farmers that there is a way to make money on growing brewer's grain or, barley and things like that, 3-row, 2-row, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I bet until fairly recently, there weren't a lot of blueberry farmers thinking, I could sell a couple thousand pounds of these things to, these dudes making beer.
No. Dude, the best feeling is going
this is
back
incredible for North Carolina agriculture.
For
I mean,
sure.
the ability to leverage all these different products, it's got to be changing the nature of how agriculture is, or how the farmers are
thinking about it, for sure.
thinking about their business and how they can grow their business and where they can sell their
We
products.
find more and more farmers that are willing to plan ahead with us, and ask what we want to do. And, they're excited. They know that's a guaranteed, like, we're going to buy such a big volume, so it's not as much of a risk for them. So.
And you meet these guys at, like, the farmer's market?
Yeah.
Literally?
Yeah.
Like,
And the funnest part is like, going through the initial conversation, say, okay, give me 2,000 pounds of this, and then going back in 3 weeks or 4 weeks and bringing them the beer that was made with that. It's mind blowing. Like, the guys are like, the folks that are there, not necessarily big beer drinkers, but they're like, you put blueberries in this beer, and they open it up and like, oh my God, this is great. I love that beer. And it, kind of spreads, the other farmers hear about you wanting to buy all those pounds of local fruit. those guys are excited about it, and they're stopping by the brewery, which we're right across the street. Those guys stop over there and say, I heard about that strawberry rhubarb beer you made, or I heard about that blueberry beer you bought from, those berries you bought from Whitfield, and, I want to try it, which is a cool thing, because we're bringing people into it.
That's got to be cool to be a farmer and have some beer that has your blueberries.
Yeah,
like
it's so cool.
So they, that's really interesting. So because North Carolina's just got a really good climate and a diverse landscape for just a lot of good different. I knew for restaurants. I hadn't thought about it for what y'all are doing.
Yeah, for sure. We've I mentioned blueberries, blackberries, watermelon was a huge thing and for us this year, and then peaches, and then apples, of course. We've done some cider projects with other a cidery out of DC that used North Carolina apples. We purchased sorry.
Oh, that's all right. No, dude, you can say it.
Okay. We purchased a couple 100 gallons of a specific type of apple juice called Gold Rush, which is actually from Western North Carolina. And it's a connection that they had said, let's use this. It's North Carolina juice. Shipped it to us, and we added it to one of our sour beers, and then it's conditioning together, and it's ready for release. But that project started 7 months ago, and we're waiting for it to come to fruition. So,
who are some of the, whether they be maybe some local, and then some of the ones that are in different parts of the country? Who are some of the other breweries that you all admire or follow or know, or you're friends with or you collaborate with?
Night Shift is one out of Boston that we love. So
Night Shift.
We look forward to going up there yearly and doing a collab, and they come down here and we sort of reciprocate.
How'd you get to know them?
Going up to a festival called Extreme Beer Fest up in
festival.
Boston.
All right.
So became friendly with them.
that's a really great story about how that kind of started. It was these guys were brewing at night, and they called it their night shift. They were brewing
Night Shift.
a 1-barrel brew house, which is 30 gallons of beer at a time. And then the first year we met them, we hit it off because they were a small brewery just like us, trying to figure things out. And then stayed in contact, and they started to grow. We started to grow. Learned a lot from them as they were growing, good and bad, because they were like, don't do this or do this for sure.
Yeah.
And we've been able to kind of like share information and help each other as we grow. Those guys have grown exponentially, way faster than we have, but they've always kept the mindset that the beer's first. Craft is the most important thing that we can do, and we always admire them for that.
That's cool.
OMF.
Oh yeah, our good friends at Our Mutual Friend in Denver was one of our favorite breweries to work with.
Our Mutual Friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's confusing to say something.
It is, and when you say it to somebody, they're like, "What, are you not going to tell us who?"
Yeah,
friend
right.
is?
Not confusing out there because everyone knows who they are.
Yeah,
They're in Denver?
Yeah, they're in Denver. They're called. Everyone refers to them as OMF.
Oh, man.
But they're friends of ours too that we met at a beer festival one time, hit it off, stayed good friends, and have been able to exchange and do collabs both directions. So we've had Brandon come out and brew a beer with us. We went out and brewed a beer with them, then had Jan come out and participate in a collab the last time and go back and forth and really kind of show them what North Carolina beer scene's about. And then we go out there and we have a way in the door in the Colorado beer scene.
What does that mean? Okay, tell me, walk me through that. I hear about, this industry is like full of all these collaborations. I hear about all the time. What happens? Like you go out there, you get on a plane, you fly out there. Mm-hmm. How many of y'all go, and what do you do while you're there?
It kind of depends. So, if we go, when we went to OMF the last time, we started the conversation about what do you want to brew? What haven't you guys brewed lately? What have you seen that we're brewing that you're excited about, and vice versa? Just kind of talking about it.
So you don't have you go out there without.
No, we do.
Okay.
We make a plan beforehand. We start an email chain a couple months in advance, and then start to gather all the materials that we need. So, if we're going to do something that's grain heavy, we have a lot of really great heirloom grain in North Carolina. So we'll say, hey, we really want to use triticale, or we want to use Bloody Butcher corn, or something like that. We want to share a taste of North Carolina, an experience that we've had here brewing, and add that to what they're doing.
Okay.
And then vice versa. So I sent them North Carolina rum barrels from our friends out in the Outer Banks to condition a beer that was a hybrid grain bill of stuff that we had used in the past and stuff they had used in the past, but it's being conditioned in North Carolina grain barrels, or North Carolina rum barrels.
So you send them the barrels.
Got the barrels shipped out there.
Okay.
We'll either ship them grain or bring grain with us. We've even been known to travel with kegs, because you can bring a keg on a flight.
Are you serious?
I'm not sure if you're supposed to, but
They lost it. Remember, I flew in after Chris last trip, and he brought the keg and then lost it. And I was trying to catch up with everybody. And Chris was like, "Can you go to the lost and found at the?"
You lost a keg? Are you serious?
Yeah, they
the
lost
airport.
it. So we packed it in a box, It looked very legit, and it was written on the side. It's like Chris Powers. Here's my address, things like that. And it weighs 48 pounds. And I showed up. They're like, your luggage didn't make it. My luggage? I was like, shh, okay. What do I do? And I'm thinking the whole time, and
we're supposed to be pouring it at
an event that night. So I was like, hey, dude, I know you're coming in after. Would you mind stopping by Lost and Found and see if my luggage showed up?
Of course, I'm wearing trophy gear, and they're like, you're here for the keg. Huh?
Yeah, then it became known it was the keg.
It was the keg. That is hilarious. Yeah, the guys were like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and tap into this.
how do I get
Anybody got a
this
tap
thing?
around here somewhere? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you go out there. How long do you stay when you go to a collaboration? Is it?
We plan a lot of them around other events. So, like, if we're going to the Great American Beer Festival and it's in Denver,
Gotcha.
We'll pick a day we'll either go out a day early or stay a day later, or we'll go there earlier part of the day and then go to the festival later. However it works out schedule-wise.
And they advertise to their customers, these guys from Trophy Brewery in North Carolina here, and here's the beer that we have, and we're serving it tonight or whatever. And then
that's kind of what we'll do is, like, if we're going to be out there for...
Can I have another one of these?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I mean, we don't want it to go to waste.
Yeah.
We have plenty.
If we're going out there for, like, a collab, we're going to send some beer out around it. So we typically will put together an event either at OMF, or if we're working with our friends at Finn's Manor just up the street, we'll go ahead and have OMF beers on draft, Trophy beers on draft that night, so everybody can go in and enjoy them both together.
Okay.
The beer isn't typically ready for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months after, so it usually will be released when we aren't there, or try to schedule.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
We just went out to, I didn't go, but Chris, I guess Les and Sean, so three of our team went out to Kansas City for a collab with Boulevard.
Yes.
So we do, we make trips specifically for these things
Okay.
when they're appropriate. But the real benefit, like Chris said, we plan in advance with the recipe, but, like, there's so much collaboration as far as learning from each other. That's, like, the real benefit. Like, there's not really so much work going on during the collab brew day. It's not like super manual labor kind of slave over the brew house all day. It's usually hanging out with each other, planning that day where you're going to be together and you can talk about what each other do. And, for me, it's always like equipment is exciting, like seeing what people have, that, especially bigger breweries or breweries of comparable size, seeing what they have, what they're doing, what works for them. And then we can say, like, oh, that looks awesome, or that doesn't look awesome. Let's not get that kind of thing. And then, for our brewers, like techniques and ingredients and sourcing things, all those things, like working with your friends when they have great beer, like, you want to know what they're doing, and vice versa.
I love that. I love that about your industry so much, that y'all do. There's so much collaboration.
I mean, when I go to a brewery, like, we go visit a brewery, like, we brewed a beer with Cerebral, and they're known for these very crazy, really, really delicious IPAs and these crazy pastry stouts and things like that. But it's open because they know that I'm not going to go there and write down the recipe and go try to brew it and call it something else at Trophy. I just want to know, I want to see how they run their the efficiency of their brew house. I want to see how many members they have on their team. I also want to learn, like, share the information that we've had, bad experiences, good experiences with them, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
Because Denver's a different market than Raleigh is.
Sure.
And, an IPA that kills in Denver doesn't necessarily kill in Raleigh, and vice versa.
I mean, wouldn't that have something to do with, like, even with the same ingredients, it's grown on different soil,
For sure,
the water's
There's
different.
so many
like,
different ways to add them. Like learning how someone adds peanut butter, or how someone uses coffee. Like, there's 100 different ways to use coffee in a beer.
Yeah, I like the coffee. Yeah. I'm a big coffee drinker. If I can get some coffee beer, I'm always pretty. That's like the perfect combination.
Yeah,
that's cool. So how many craft breweries are there in North Carolina now? Do y'all know, roughly?
I don't know offhand. No.
I mean, it would be hundreds or
hundreds.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay. I mean, that number has grown exponentially since y'all started in 2012.
It's not stopping.
It's not stopping.
But it's not more opening every year.
It's odd to me that so many of these breweries are opening, and so many of them are successful, and so many of them are growing. Do y'all ever worry about that, like competition?
I think the growth has slowed. The overall market growth has slowed. The model that is working is the local brewery. People want to go have their local beer. They want to go to a tap room. They want to go to the source and get the freshest beer and get the most exciting, the newest thing.
Yep.
the breweries that are having a tough time are some of the best in the country, and the big regional breweries that are shipping beer all over the country are struggling now because of that. Because people aren't going to the shop and getting the grocery store, getting the same six-pack, every week. They're not getting the Constitutional anymore. They want to try something new every time, and that's where we were talking about Untapped. People are, just checking off the next beer, whether that's good or bad. But it is unfortunate for some of the breweries we grew up loving, over the past decade or so, are, not doing as well as they were 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. So the large.
So it's not everybody's just,
And some clothes, I know.
It's like, you don't go to a website for content and it's the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
Right? You don't go to it anymore. You're like, oh, damn, they don't update their, things don't change. There's no evolution. There's nothing new. You're not seeing anybody's growth. So as a brewery, we need to continue to evolve and start doing new things.
Yeah.
But also we're like creative people. We want to be doing different things all the time. And that's a difference between us and those bigger guys is like we can stop on a dime and turn direction and go in that direction.
Yep.
Those bigger guys, like Sam Adams and things like that, when they're pumping out hundreds and hundreds of thousands of barrels of beer a year, and they're forecasted 5-10 years out. Like they have hop contracts 5 and 10 years out, so they're already committed to buying hops that haven't even been grown yet.
Yep.
And we do that, but on a much smaller scale, so it's a much less of a risk to stop and turn.
Right.
So,
well, it's good to be in a growing market.
It is.
Raleigh's growing like crazy. The beer scene, the culinary scene, everything here is just really driving a lot of the growth. The culinary scene here has been amazing. Y'all have, by the way, ridiculously good pizza.
Yes.
I tell everybody I know that it's like in Raleigh, if I'm like, have you had their pizza yet? They're like, no. I'm like, it's just like the best pizza. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's so good.
That's one. That's another thing that's important to us is that as our business, we want to continue to evolve and get better. These guys in the kitchen are the same. They're always trying to find a better way to produce the best tasting beer possible.
Yeah.
It's important to them to make sure that the dough has, X amount of hours to proof, and make sure that the dough is consistent. It's always rising to the same level.
Yeah.
And we're also using exciting ingredients. That's one thing that we push with all of our chefs is to get to know those farmers, the farmers market that we know through the beer industry. Go out there, get to know the small farmer who's growing really awesome rutabagas, or like a dude that's growing bok choy that you've never had before, or something interesting. Continue to evolve. That way you don't get stagnant.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that we hope we build a level of trust that we're not in it for a quick cash grab. Like, we're not just a factory making beer the same beer and overcharging for it. We try to charge a fair price, but we're in the hospitality business. We want people to have a good experience when they come to, not just walk up to, a counter that we slapped in front of the brewery and we're just, slinging beer over the top of it. Like, we want it to be a comfortable space to hang out in. We want to serve a good product, and we want to have great people that give you a good experience.
Yeah.
So a lot of the places that you mentioned, like that are outside of Raleigh, that serve your beer, them. Do you have salespeople that go out and present trophy to restaurants and bars around the state, or is it just mainly just through word of mouth and
so
people you know?
Locally, it's one guy. We have one guy who sells all of our
badass.
One badass, who is, which we probably shouldn't say this too much on here. He's not for hire.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone who's listening to this.
Okay.
He's a maniac. You do not want to. No, he's awesome. So Chris Mincy is the guy who handles all of our outside sales. So if it's a restaurant in the Triangle or Charlotte or at the beach that are interested in picking up our beer, they go through him.
Okay.
He gives them the list of everything that's available, talk about the kind of supply that we're going to have on that particular beer, when it's coming out, some of the notes on it, flavors, profiles, that kind of thing. He shares all that information, makes sure that it's handled from top to bottom.
So restaurants that are around here in the Carolinas that are listening, they call Trophy.
Yeah.
Get in touch with Chris.
Mincy at
Mincy. There you go. Who knows? Are there markets you'd like to be in that you don't know many people yet, that we could maybe connect you with some people? Or, I don't know. If we ever can, we'd love to.
Appreciate that. We are, we always want to take care of the home market first, and that's kind of what we're concentrating on. This year, we're looking to possibly grow some of our tank space.
Yeah.
But that's always one of those things that we're like, every beginning of the, end of 2019, we're talking about 2020. We're like, let's not spend any more money on steel this year. Let's just focus on what we're doing. But every time, then we get January, middle of it, and we're like, we probably need more tanks this year. So we probably should get more tanks this year.
And we've talked about, the triad or going into other markets that we're not in, but we don't have the capacity to do it. And it's, like we said, we're not just going to throw, bunch of tanks in the space. And
you guys are happy with you're happy with the balance you have between running a business well, having children, still growing, but it sounds like you've got a good formula for that.
I think I'm happy with it. My wife might not be as happy about it. She's very patient. So,
like we talked about earlier, we don't like doing the same thing. We don't like drinking the same thing every day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the smartest path or what would make us the most successful path. Like,
but that depends on how you define success, right?
For sure.
Literally, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like
people are always asking us, why don't you have 10 pizza places around the state or around the country or whatever? And we're like, because that's not what gets us up in the morning.
Yeah.
We're so concerned about making sure that people have a great time every time.
Yeah.
That like being that much further away from it was so much harder to kind of get my head around. So.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So you were asking me before we started about the shoes.
Yes, these things are awesome.
They're so badass.
And on the box it says Nike by William, which is pretty
I know.
awesome.
I didn't know I was going to do that. That's
pretty
funny.
cool.
That's funny.
It's awesome.
Okay. So the deal is, we'll put that picture on Instagram or whatever. But folks that are listening, these guys both have a pair of Nike shoes in front of them that we designed through Nike, and they say "Fly" on the back. And that was a little bit lucky because there's two things happening here. First of all, you can actually go to a website. It's like Nike by You, and you can design. You literally you can pick every panel on here. You pick the color, all right, and you can put 3 letters on the back. So most people put their initials or whatever. Sure. We just got lucky with Fly that it worked. We couldn't put schedule Fly. It had to say Fly, which works because that's what all of our stuff says anyway. Well, so I got that for a dozen of y'all. But the bigger picture here is, we are talking to Nike about possibly designing a shoe for hospitality because they just unveiled a couple months ago. I think it was October. They unveiled a shoe for the healthcare industry because their thinking was there's a ton of healthcare workers. They're wearing these clogs and stuff that they don't really like how they look, but they have to wear them for utility. And they're on their feet all day. Why don't we design a really cool shoe? And I was like, well, yeah, cool. But why don't you do one for hospitality? Because they're on their feet the same amount, and they're working in kitchens that have slippery floors, and they're dirty, and they need wipeable shoes, and but they want something that looks cool. People, whether they're the server or particularly the folks in the back, they want something that actually has some style, and it needs to be wipeable. Well, anyway, luckily, one of my good buddies from high school works at Nike, and he's done pretty well there. And I called him. I was like, "Hey, man, Stuart, what do you think?" He's like, "It's a pretty good idea. I know the guy who would do that." So he put me in touch with him, and we're talking.
That's awesome.
I mean, I told the guy, I was like, "Look, we got 300,000 end users. They all work at restaurants. They're on their feet all the time. If we work together and build something really cool that looks good but has the utility and the traction and all the stuff they need." So I guess that was that tells these companies you have a very engaged user base, and so they know that if they do something with us, then the ability to reach those people is legitimate.
Yeah.
So we're talking to them. And,
that's pretty awesome.
But meanwhile, they were like, well, if you want, you can, we've got this thing where you can. I was like, yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
That was so much fun designing this. So there you go. So that's the story. So we're working on that. We're working on 401k is something we're working on. We are in very advanced conversations with a financial institution, very fast growing bank. They have a national presence, or they're building a national presence, not through branches, but through sort of online banking. But they look at the restaurant, they're like, that's like a family. So, could we do a package? And they're looking at various different industries that they serve. They're sort of an industry-focused bank. The whole restaurant space is something that is interesting because there's things they can do for the owner. There's things they can do for the business expansion, financing. There's also free checking they can do for employees. There's also, maybe there's like kitchen staff who don't even have credit, right?
Yeah.
Low limit credit card, right? To help them get started to establish credit. So we're talking to them about that. We're talking to what else the other? So 401k, banking, Nike, and there's maybe one or two others, but we're trying to find ways that we can find companies. Student loan refinance. That's a huge issue for so many people that work in this industry. So but there's companies that that's what they do. They enable you to refinance your student loans, and so we're talking to a few of them saying, look, there's a lot of people. We have a ton of millennials that are sitting on a bunch of student loan debt, and they're working in restaurants and
getting crushed.
And they're getting crushed. It's debilitating. I mean, it prevents them from. I mean, it's hard to they're taking a lot of their income and they're having to plow that back into just paying this stuff off. So we kind of thought like, why not? Like I don't know what'll happen with all this, but I mean, so far so good.
That's great.
So that's the goal. It would be like a Schedule Fly benefits or Schedule Fly reward, like what you maybe like what you get with like a credit card, right? You get all these things, but very curated and very specific to a small number of really explicit needs. So this isn't like an affiliate thing where there's like 50 things. Oh, you just get a discount. It's more like, this company is enabling this really tailored package for you if you want to refinance your student loan, or this company is designing a custom shoe or whatever the case may be. That's kind of what we're kind of arms deep in right now.
Incredible, yeah. We definitely have people that are crippled by their student loans on our staff.
It's like $1.6 trillion in student loan debt right now, and growing like fast. Yeah, it's insane. And they, a lot of these people are winding up with 6 figures in debt and a degree that's like,
or even worse, they're like teachers, like people who are like doing their best to take care of our kids and teach them the right way, and they have to work 2 or 3 jobs. To make ends meet.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem right.
So we, I get like chill. I love y'all. I love you too. I love your team. We love the people. We literally do. I mean, so this is like, we're after this like dog after a ball right now. We're That's awesome. I mean, it's like, because building more and more technology is fine, but I mean, our technology works well. It's like you told me once, I will never forget this, Woody. You came up to me on that patio out there, and you said Schedule Fly is one of the things that we don't have to think about because it always works. It doesn't call it. And man, I can't tell you how many times we've talked about that at Schedule Fly. That really meant a lot, and it because everything does, there's always problems. And so we've kind of said like, the more technology we add, the more, when you scale up technology, there's just always opportunities for things to go awry and it cause problems. And we feel like we're solving a basic problem of scheduling communication, but we've got this really large audience of people that are really engaged in this stuff. I mean, like, why don't we figure out a way to it's very fragmented. Nobody has buying power, but maybe we can for you. So I don't know. We'll see. That's what we're trying. We're working on it.
We appreciate that for sure because we sitting at 112 employees, there's definitely different needs for all of them, but there are those things that stand out.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. What's up, man? How you doing? What kind of beer did you get?
I got the IPA, but not the Trophy Wife, but the one from New England.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Cloud Surfer.
If you want to go fast, there's a Trophy Wife for you. We're going to actually, we'll wrap up here in a second.
We still feel that way, by the way. Schedule Fly was a game change for us, 100%. When we interview manager candidates, we always ask them, like, do you guys use Schedule Fly? It's pretty rare these days, but when we hear of someone saying, like, no, we just use a spreadsheet or whatever, we're like, what is wrong with you?
What? Are you a caveman? You might as well be using a stone tablet.
Hitting yourself in the head. Like,
that's funny.
That sounds awful. Yeah.
We've been real. We're real thankful. We've done really well in Raleigh. I mean, it's just been a great market for us. The independent restaurant scene here is phenomenal. The independent brewery, it's just a perfect fit. It really is. And y'all, the whole community just collaborates really well. You guys are everybody knows each other. Everybody has sort of a rising tide lifts all boats, mentality.
Yeah.
And you have a university here. There's just a lot of people that I think really appreciate what y'all and your peers are doing in terms of being local, in terms of buying local products, and I mean it just resonates really here. So that's really well here. So it's been good for us. I mean it's been great.
That's awesome.
The crazy decade-ending stat in Raleigh was that the number of bars and restaurants doubled over the decade.
Doubled?
Like, doubled.
In Raleigh?
Yeah.
Good grief.
So
That's amazing.
so many great places.
That's,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, y'all are awesome. We really appreciate it. I mean, appreciate the time.
You are. Thank you,
appreciate
man.
the business. Appreciate all the just love y'all shown us. And I kid you not, like we have talked about that quote. I mean, once a month, Wes and I, or some of us talk about that. So I appreciate that. It's really been it's one of the very few things that people have said to us that we're always like, remember what Woody said. Yeah. Like, don't get complicated
awesome.
with this stuff.
Might be a
Like,
first
just keep
for
it
me.
working. Anything else you guys want to rap about?
Man, we're looking forward to 2020 for sure. Just the expansion over here should be ready to go by beginning of April. And over there at State of Beer, we're looking at like beginning of March for that. So keep an eye out.
Oh,
There's going to be
back to
lots of new stuff. Yeah, we're gluttons
So
for
within
punishment.
30 days, you're going to add like over 100, a couple hundred new seats.
150.
Yeah.
150 new seats between
yeah.
the two. That's
No
awesome.
big deal.
Yeah, no big
In two
deal,
locations.
right?
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's we can't wait to share the spaces with the people. Both of those projects have been in the works for so long. It's nice. It'll be nice to have people in there and enjoying it like we have. So
Awesome. Congrats,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Appreciate
Cheers.
it very much.
Yeah.
Cheers, Bobby. Yes.
Thank you for these shoes.
Yeah, these shoes
yeah.
are awesome.
They're
Awesome. Good deal. Yeah.
We'll post a picture on our Instagram page, on the Trophy Instagram page. So.
Do it. I love it. Woody, Chris,
Cheers.
thank y'all. Everybody,
you.
thanks for
Cheers.
listening.
Yeah.
More coming soon. See y'all.